Hello and thanks for joining us for this week's edition of Reporters. I'm Tom BURGES-WATSON and I'm joined by our senior reporter Kareem Hakiki. Hi Kareem.
Hi Tom.
Kareem is just back from Iraq, a country that after years of terror and warfare is rebuilding itself. The security situation is improving, but now the country finds itself fighting a new war on a new front. It's a war on drugs. Well, crystal methamphetamine is readily available in the country. It's relatively cheap, and its effects are devastating. Many of the people choosing to use this drug are themselves the victims of the horrors of war. Many are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Kareem, do you get the impression that the Iraqi authorities, who were rather taken by surprise by this explosion in drug use, are managing to stay ahead of the problem?
You're right, the Iraqi state was surprised. Why? There are several reasons. First of all, the war and years of terrorism. Then Iraq had never known a problem with drugs. Under Saddam Hussein, even simple users were given the death penalty, so basically there weren't really any users in the country. So they were as much surprised first by the arrival of drugs and then by their wide-scale use. More than anything else, you have the PTSD element. Iraqi society is traumatized.
OK, well, stay with us, Kareem, because we're going to watch your report now, made together with our colleague Ammar Al-Hamidawi. Let's watch that report, Iraq's new war on drugs.
One of our informants has given us info about a dealer. He's selling crystal. We're going to catch him red-handed. Quick, move it, quickly.
This is all in a day's work for RIBOIR, a captain in Iraq's all-new narcotics division. For 3 months, his unit's been tracking Baghdad's dealers. Tonight, he thinks he may have collared a methamphetamine dealer. The synthetic drug has flooded the Iraqi capital. It's a dead end. They haven't got the right man. Against a city of 10 million, sometimes the drug squad's officers feel a little overwhelmed.
Our sources were telling us this person comes twice a week to exchange bags. We tried to catch him in the act, but when we searched him, we didn't find a thing. We'll get him next time.
When it comes to safety, discretion is everything. The narcotics division works out of a former sports club. But the squad doesn't have much in the way of resources. There are just 30 officers on staff. This morning there's a briefing on current investigations.
This is how we'll do it. You will leave beforehand with me, Ali and RIBOIR. Hossam, he'll stay here for reinforcement.
Boss, we're going to have to move fast. The suspects have surveillance cameras outside.
Section Chief RIBOIR and his men alternate shifts 24/7, ready to leap into action. All the officers work, sleep and eat on the premises, handling guard duties for 48-hour stretches.
I'm tired. Can I take a break?
Yes, of course. Go ahead and take a rest.
Despite coming from widely different backgrounds, the officers in the drug squad had to learn how to cooperate quickly.
We were all specially chosen as officers to form the division. We've been in this building for 3 months. Over that time, we've arrested 60 suspects. They've all passed through here.
With dealers at all levels of Iraqi society, the police have followed suit in an effort to track them down, drawing recruits from every community.
We're one big family here. We all live together. We spend more time in the station than at home.
We don't make any differences between us. There's no line between Sunnis and Shiites. We're all Iraqis, and that's the secret of our success. There's no division.
Years of war and attacks have left Iraq with a form of post-traumatic stress disorder. One of its main symptoms, rampant drug use. Levels have gone up 40% over the last 3 years alone. Known locally by the street names of Wadi, Samai, or simply Crystal, synthetic drugs are easy to synthesize and cheap, as this dealer told us when we filmed him with a hidden camera.
A pill costs 2,000 to 2,500 Iraqi dinars, about €2. It's all the rage with kids from 15 to 20 years old, and it's not expensive. But crystal meth, that white powder's for the rich. Even I can't afford it.
Another symptom of the danger to public health, the countless victims drug use leaves behind. The luckier ones are able to find a place in the tiny addiction study center at the Ibn Rushd Hospital. It's the country's only clinic where addicts can be treated. Mornings are often tough for the patients.
Good morning. How are things? Have you taken your medication? And you, have you taken yours? Did you sleep well?
The war's physical scars are obvious enough, but its psychological ones less so. The task is huge, and the medical staff have even less to work with than the police's fledgling drugs unit.
This room is all we have for all of Iraq to care for addicts. 13 beds for the whole country. It's absurd. We can't take in any new patients.
At just 22, Hamoudi has already hit rock bottom. The young manual laborer found himself fast addicted.
I started using it because I was in bad company. They pushed me to try it. That's how I got hooked. I liked it at first, but then I had hallucinations and awful thoughts in my head. I couldn't control myself anymore. And when you wake up after, you regret everything.
It'll take Hamoudi about a week and a half to wean himself off the drugs, the first step on a long road to recovery.
I pray to God I can get off it. I regret it so much. Addiction is a beast, and I ask all young people to stay away from it.
After his treatment, the young man's dream is to marry and have a family. 80% of drug users in Iraq are less than 30 years old. It's an epidemic that has authorities concerned, with the government recently setting up a drug use prevention scheme for young people. Haidar heads up a charity that fights against narcotics. This morning, he's visiting a private school in Baghdad.
The last 2 years have seen this phenomenon spread. You always have to find new users. After the universities, it started hitting high schools, right the way through, and the market for drugs extends. So why am I here? I'm here for prevention, to keep you, our pupils, away from this phenomenon. That's our role as an NGO. It's the role of the government, and of course, the role of the school.
Of course, I've heard about it. It happens in groups, when you're among friends. Young people our age want to try everything. With peer pressure, all you need is one offer of a free try. After that, you start looking for it by yourself.
Some people take it so people don't make fun of them. They're easy to influence. That's how it starts, and they become addicted. At the beginning, they don't notice, but it's already too late.
The head teacher gives us the tour.
Mohammed Bashar, you have to go home.
With around 100 students, private schools like this are an exception in Iraq.
Thank God it's not the case in our school. But we have to take care, because they're teenagers. They can be a little sensitive. All you need is a drop in morale to push someone to take drugs. So our role is to keep permanent watch, even during the holidays. We keep in touch to protect them.
We head back to the narcotics division. This man was arrested at home as he woke up. Officers think he could be part of a network of dealers. For security reasons, officers cover his eyes with a blindfold. And in handcuffs, the suspected dealer undergoes an interrogation from Unit Chief Safa.
Bring him through. What's your name? Do you know where you are? Do you know where you are?
Yeah, the drug squad.
Do you know why? Do you know why?
No, I swear I don't know.
Then why do you think you're here?
I haven't done anything.
So why are you here? Take him away. Before that, take a blood sample. Of course he's denying everything, but he will be here for some time. We have proof against him, and we'll keep confronting him until he confesses. We have witnesses against him, and the judge ordered him to be detained.
After 2 days on guard duty, Safa can finally go home.
Hello?
Far from the gritty business of policing the capital, he now has time for family.
Get me.
Write the letter B. What new letter did you learn with your mummy? I'm afraid for my children and for all the children in Iraq. According to my experience, the parents are always surprised to learn that their children are using drugs. I'm afraid to go through that. I hope that tomorrow I won't be in that situation.
Iraq may now be looking toward reconstruction after nearly 2 decades of war and violence. But with the country standing on the crossroads of a vast regional trafficking network, it seems one more battle is only now just beginning in those same cities and streets. The one against drugs.
Okay, that report, Iraq's new war on drugs, made by France 24 senior reporters Amar Al-Hamidawi and Karim Hakiki. Karim, who's here with me in the studio. I get the impression from looking at that report that the drug dealers have managed to find a very profitable niche in Iraqi society. It's people with psychological problems.
You're right. The drugs market doesn't experience crisis. There's a really strong demand within Iraqi society. That society is coming back to life, and Iraqis want to experiment with everything, to feel it for themselves. Secondly, there's this syndrome, PTSD, that's affected everyone. And the fact that it's possible to be affected by it without even knowing. What matters is escaping reality, so for dealers, it's a huge help. On one side, they have a market which works, an open market, and on the other, they have this extremely weak psychological state. Listen to this doctor who will explain how PTSD is influencing Iraqi society.
Post-traumatic stress disorder is very common in Iraq because of the wars and because of the years of terrorism. At the start, the victim is in a state of total shock. Then he relives his trauma, like in a nightmare or in a film. The patient goes through the same experience a second time. That's why drugs are an easy refuge, to forget the trauma.
Okay, Karim, one of the assumptions is that the drugs are coming into Iraq from Iran. How can we be so sure?
First of all, it's historic. Iran has always been a producer of opiates. That's known in global trafficking. The UN's identified Iran as a large-scale producer on the same scale as Afghanistan. On the other hand, we're talking about synthetic drugs, which means the Iraqis can benefit from Iranian know-how, particularly in terms of making crystal methamphetamine. It's a synthesized drug that's easy to make. You only need a few ingredients. Those methods have been imported to Iraq. What's more, following the war, Iraqi borders have become more porous to drug traffic, particularly that coming from Iran and Afghanistan.
And Karim, finally, you've spent time with the anti-drug squad there in Baghdad. Do you get the impression that things are going to get worse on this front before they get better?
Unfortunately, it's going to be hard. It's a war on drugs. Other countries have tried to prosecute that kind of war. Iraqis barely have the idea of drugs in their collective consciousness, but I'd say, to be positive, that what I saw on the ground with my colleague Ammar al-Hamidawi, it's that they're aware not just of the sanitary aspect, but of the security aspect too. A narcotics division was set up, but it's not enough, and a lot of work will be needed. There's an awareness of how to take care of addicts, how to see their recovery through, and how to care for them.
Okay, well, thank you very much indeed to our senior reporter, Karim Hakiki. Thank you very much for sharing that with us and your report, Iraq's New War on Drugs. And thank you very much indeed to you for watching. Stay tuned to France 24.